On February 3rd, 2026, Floyd Mayweather filed a lawsuit in California against Showtime Networks and Steven Espinoza, claiming they helped his former advisor, Al Heyman, misappropriate a huge chunk of his fight earnings to the tune of $340 million.
And he had been giving him 50,000 and 50,000 and 50,000. He had already gave Gamboa about 300,000 to chill on the side. And then we ended up, when he did go in, I ended up picking up all the fighters.
Al Heyman was so good at his job,
yes,
that he was clowning these networks. He was out negotiating the networks to the point where they were giving you an inferior product because his fighters were getting overpaid for lesser fights.
We weren't getting overpaid.
In that,
we weren't getting
I'm happy
overpaid.
for every dollar he made.
Freddie Hernandez.
Yeah, right.
This is the golden child of Al Heyman right here.
But it is admirable that Al Heyman not only did his job so well, but was helping fighters get rich while he was doing it. He created a climate where fighters started to begin to believe that they were worth more money. I don't mean to me. You're worth all the money in the world to me, the fighters. But I mean to the marketplace.
Yep. My thought is everything has a price. There is not a number that can get you back in that ring. 80 million, 100 million.
Nah, because now you selling your soul.
$100 million, you can have my soul.
That's you. Now we know your character. Sometimes, you know, you look at people and you be like, dang, man, you ain't got no dignity. You ain't got no morals. Like, come on, man. Like, what you gonna stand for if everything is about money? Like, I never was in a sport because of money.
Crawford would beat you. That was the jab 50 Cent recently threw at Floyd Mayweather while mocking him publicly. But this back and forth isn't just about jokes or rivalry. It ties into a staggering $340 million legal battle. What makes the situation so intense isn't just the dollar amount. It's the depth of the claims being made. Mayweather isn't pointing to minor bookkeeping mistakes or small financial discrepancies. Instead, he alleges a long-running, deliberate operation that stretched across several years. Court documents suggest that revenue tied to some of the most historic events in combat sports allegedly disappeared. Among those events is the blockbuster showdown with Conor McGregor, a fight that broke pay-per-view records worldwide. Now, the former champion is arguing that the missing money wasn't hidden in complex shadows. It was sitting there all along, unnoticed by many, concealed in plain view.
Floyd is stepping into the courtroom to fight for money he claims that he was never paid, and he wants justice on his terms. So let's talk details. Let me tell you about the lawsuits. On February 3rd, 2026, Floyd Mayweather filed a lawsuit in California against Showtime Networks and Steven Espinoza, claiming they helped his former advisor, Al Heyman, misappropriate a huge chunk of his fight earnings to the tune of $340 million. Mayweather says the money is still missing and unaccounted for, and he's now suing Showtime and Espinoza for aiding and abetting breach of fiduciary duty, civil conspiracy to commit fraud. Ooh, that's...
At the heart of the controversy is Al Heyman, a man who was once considered Floyd Mayweather's most trusted strategist and business partner. According to the lawsuit, that trusted relationship unraveled behind the scenes. The filing claims Heyman diverted portions of fight earnings without Mayweather's knowledge. It further suggests that incomplete paperwork, absent financial statements, and unclear transactions prevented Floyd from fully understanding where his money was going. For someone who built his brand around discipline, oversight, and total command of his career, these allegations cut deep. If proven true, they challenge not just his finances, but the foundation of the empire he carefully constructed.
Floyd argues that during his legendary career, where he generated $1 billion in revenue plus and pay-per-view money, a significant portion of the funds that he made through those events, through his fights, didn't make it into his hands because they were funneled through accounts controlled by his then advisor, Al Heyman. Now, Mayweather says that Showtime delivered those checks and funds through systems that helped Heyman get the money instead of paying Floyd directly. The lawsuit also points to some of boxing's biggest pay-per-view fights, including fights against Manny Pacquiao and Conor McGregor, events that generated hundreds of millions in revenue. Mayweather's legal team said he generated hundreds of millions in revenue for Showtime and now wants to recover what he claims was unfairly taken.
Concerns reportedly intensified when Mayweather brought in a new management group to review the situation. After Richard Schaefer and his team pushed for full financial disclosure, Showtime allegedly did not deliver comprehensive accounting records. The complaint highlights major gaps in the revenue details, particularly those connected to the blockbuster showdown with Manny Pacquiao and the historic clash against Conor McGregor. Both events generated enormous global income and rank among the highest-earning fights in boxing history. However, according to the legal filing, the financial statements presented failed to reconcile properly, raising serious questions about where the money ultimately went.
Al Heyman himself, the advisor that Mayweather blames for the missing money, is not named as a defendant in the lawsuit. Instead, Mayweather's legal action targets the network and Steven Espinoza. He claims they aided and abetted these alleged financial wrongdoings. So what does this mean, and what's like a potential outcome for this case that's coming up? Well, the lawsuit could have some pretty serious implications, not only for Floyd's legacy, but also for how networks and advisors handle fighter compensations. Mayweather wants hundreds of millions back plus punitive damages, pushing this beyond a simple accounting dispute. If the court rules in his favor, it could open the door to more scrutiny of boxing's behind-the-scenes financial relationships.
At this point, the courtroom fight could uncover what truly took place behind some of boxing's richest nights. The lawsuit claims that as much as $340 million cannot be properly traced, and if additional penalties are applied, the total exposure could rise even further. A case of that size has the potential to rattle the entire industry today as supporters and critics weigh the allegations. Public figures like 50 Cent have amplified the situation, transforming a complex financial conflict into a highly visible media showdown. One where credibility and legacy are now part of the stakes.
Got a boxing promotion company once.
Yeah.
What happened with the boxing promotion company?
That really happened, Ken, because of my relationship with Floyd. You know what I mean? I didn't have interest in being a promoter like out the gate. It was just, he was doing Mayweather promotions at the time. And then he had to do 90 days. He was going to jail. And he had fighters, he had Marcus Gamboa, he had guys that was just lingering. I'm like, champ, if they're going to leave. If you go to jail, they're just going to leave. Like,
right.
And he had been giving them 50,000 and 50,000 and 50,000. He had already gave Gamboa about 300,000 to chill on the side. And then we ended up, when he did go in, I ended up picking up all the fighters.
Right.
And so Marcus Gamboa, I had James Kirkland, Andre Durrell, Billy Dipp. He was the IBF champion at that point, and then a few other guys younger guys that I picked up.
Known for never filtering his words, 50 Cent quickly turned Mayweather's legal troubles into online entertainment, reviving their long-running social media rivalry. The hip-hop executive didn't stop at jokes. He suggested a drastic fix. In his view, the only way for Floyd to recover the alleged missing $340 million would be to return to the ring for 2 headline-grabbing bouts that could generate massive revenue. Posting on Instagram, 50 mocked the situation, claiming he had once offered to review Floyd's contracts and now urging him to suit up again. He even floated the idea of a matchup with Terrence Bud Crawford as a potential high-paying spectacle. Meanwhile, standing at the center of the controversy is Al Heyman, a man commentator Max Kellerman has previously labeled as one of the most influential power brokers the sport has ever known. Kellerman has argued that Heyman's business model dramatically shifted boxing's landscape. Fighters received substantial purses earlier in their careers, financial security increased, and risk-taking often declined. As a result, several high-demand matchups were postponed or never materialized. While the economic side of the sport flourished, critics continue to question whether the competitive intensity that once defined boxing was gradually diminished.
Heyman was so good at his job that he was clowning these networks. He was out negotiating the networks to the point where they were giving you an inferior product because his fighters were getting overpaid for lesser fights.
We weren't getting overpaid.
In that,
we weren't getting
I'm happy for every dollar you made.
Freddie Hernandez.
Yeah, right.
This is the golden child of Al Heyman right here.
But it is admirable that Al Heyman not only did his job so well, but was helping fighters get rich while he was doing it. He created a climate where fighters started to begin to believe that they were worth more money. I don't mean to me. You're worth all the money in the world to me, the fighters. But I mean to the marketplace than they actually were. And so now it became difficult to make fights.
I mean, you really want us to change our mindset, right? The fact that we were putting our health in jeopardy every time we stepped in that ring. So we had to make sure to get every penny that we could.
Andre Berto later weighed in, emphasizing how layered and complex the business side of boxing can be. In his view, the criticism directed at Al Haymon overlooks an important point. The system was designed to safeguard fighters, not undermine them. Berto suggested that securing strong paydays and minimizing unnecessary risk was, in many ways, a protective strategy rather than a flaw. Max Kellerman, though, maintained a more balanced stance. He acknowledged that from a managerial standpoint, the blueprint was highly effective and financially sound. At the same time, he admitted that certain structural problems within the sport still affected fighters, particularly when it came to matchmaking and long-term opportunities. AS debate around the model intensified. Turki Alashik emerged as a new, influential figure in the landscape. By backing major events with substantial investment, offering larger platforms, and promoting clearer financial frameworks, he presented fighters with an alternative route, one built on global exposure and headline-making stages.
Every time we stepped in there, I mean, that's the mindset that he put in our minds on a regular basis.
And good for him. But when he does his job that well, then Andre Berto doesn't have to take the best fights to make the money, and now me as the consumer doesn't get to see the best Andre Berto fights. My point is, fighters started thinking that the market was different than it really was, because Al was juicing the market. In that climate, big fights stopped getting made, because fighters are thinking, I'm making all this money for not taking a risk. You want me to fight that killer, or their managers want me to fight that killer for not much more money? Into that terrible situation for the consumer stepped Turki Al-Sheikh, who said, oh, okay, wait, what are your petty differences? It's over $1 million or $2 million? Here it is. Hey, here's my gift to the boxing world. Everyone, take this fight.
But this is where the narrative becomes even more complicated. Even with Turki Al-Sheikh injecting major money into the sport, enough, in theory, to remove financial barriers from the biggest matchups, some highly anticipated fights still haven't materialized. And that reality sparks tougher questions about what's truly holding boxing back. Max Kellerman has pointed to the long-discussed clash between Virgil Ortiz Jr. and Jaron Boots Ennis as a prime example. It's a fight fans have consistently demanded, a high-stakes showdown between two elite welterweights in their prime, yet it remains unrealized. If funding is no longer the main obstacle, then what is? Promotional alignments? Network politics? Risk management. Now industry attention is beginning to shift toward the concept of Zuffa boxing, a proposed structure modeled after the UFC's centralized system. Supporters believe it could streamline negotiations, reduce promotional gridlock, and ensure the best face the best more consistently. Critics, however, wonder whether such consolidation would sacrifice the independence that has long defined boxing. The sport stands at a crossroads, with money on the table, power shifting hands, and fans demanding clarity more than ever.
Now the problem is...
But he's overpaying. Like I said, I'm not mad at that. If you're going to give me the money, we're going to fight whoever you want me to fight.
But Dre, now the problem is Boots and Virgil can't get made for $6 million plus for the fighters? Do you think the average person on the street in this country knows who Boots and Virgil are?
At the same time, 50 Cent's latest comments have sparked an even bigger debate. Could a Terrence Bud Crawford versus Floyd Mayweather showdown actually be taking shape behind closed doors? While nothing official has surfaced, 50 hinted that quiet discussions may already be underway, suggesting that what looks like trolling on the surface could be something more strategic beneath it. His remarks have reignited a long-standing fantasy matchup conversation. Crawford, widely regarded as one of the most technically complete fighters of his era, versus Mayweather, the undefeated master tactician who built his legacy on precision and defensive brilliance. On paper, it's the kind of generational clash that instantly commands attention. Of course, skepticism remains. Mayweather is retired, and any return would likely be tied to massive financial incentive rather than legacy stakes. Still, in a sport where surprise announcements have become common, even a subtle hint can send fans into speculation mode. Whether 50's comments are simply another chapter in his public rivalry with Floyd or subtle breadcrumbs pointing toward a bigger play, one thing is certain. In boxing, the loudest noise often masks the quietest negotiations happening behind the scenes.
A lot of comparisons between Terrence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather. We've even had the conversation to go as far as who would win in the fight between Terrence and Floyd. And I truly don't know the answer to that question.
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah. Who would win that fight?
Floyd.
Floyd would win that
Yes,
fight.
sir. I love you, Terrence.
Always figures it out.
Yeah,
he's a chess master.
Yeah, his IQ and that
The
shit
funny
is
thing
crazy.
about it is Terrence has been the only other guy that people can say he always figures it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's true.
But you gotta have an OG somewhere.
Anybody else? Yeah.
There's an OG
Somebody
somewhere.
got to pioneer it, right? Yeah, you got to.
There's an OG you can't out-figure out somewhere. And I just believe Floyd is that OG you can't out-figure out.
On the other hand, Terrence Crawford has shown no interest in chasing comeback fights for massive paydays. Unlike Floyd Mayweather, he has made it clear that whether the offer is $80 million or $100 million, he is not returning. For Crawford, chasing money would feel like selling his soul. He has stayed true to himself, competing to achieve greatness in the sport. And, in his view, he has already done that. Meanwhile, Floyd's repeated returns have strengthened the money-driven reputation he carries.
I thought that everything has a price. There is not a number that can get you back in that ring. 80 million, 100 million.
Nah, because now you selling your soul.
$100 million, you can have my soul.
That's you. Now we know your character. Sometimes, you know, you look at people and you be like, dang, man, you ain't got no dignity. You ain't got no morals. Like, come on, man. Like, what you gonna stand for if everything is about money? Like, I never was in a sport because of money, you know? Of course, I was in a sport to make money, but I wanted to be a world champion.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to do something that I set my sights out to do as a little boy. Money wasn't the motivation. Me being a world champion was the motivation.
Crawford emphasized that he has already fulfilled the dream he held as a child, becoming a world champion. Beyond that, nothing else drives him. He believes that pursuing money now would compromise his integrity and diminish his accomplishments. Staying true to his values, Crawford remains focused on preserving the legacy he has earned through dedication and genuine achievement in boxing.
Me accomplishing all the things that I've accomplished along the way on my journey, you know, it was extra credit. It was extra credit because it's coming from the hood. It was like, man, I just want to be a world champion because that's just my dream. So when I became a world champion, it was just like, man, all this other stuff is like a cherry on the top. Like, you know what I mean? I did what I set my sights out to do. It was evident that I wasn't gonna let nothing stand in the way of me accomplishing that goal in my life. My mom telling me all the time, you need to get a plan B. You need to go to school. Man, you know me in school don't rock. What I'm going to school for?
Y'all lay tight.
I'm gonna go to school and I'm gonna get in the fight. I'm getting kicked out of college.
Floyd Mayweather's latest lawsuit highlights serious issues within boxing's financial system. He alleges that earnings from major bouts, including those against Manny Pacquiao and Conor McGregor, were diverted into accounts controlled by Al Haymon. Years later, when his new team requested Showtime's financial records, they were reportedly told the documents had been lost. Now Mayweather is suing Showtime and Steven Espinoza for fraud, civil conspiracy, and unjust enrichment, while also seeking punitive damages. His legal team is confident, with attorney Bobby Samini stating, Floyd is one of boxing's biggest pay-per-view stars. He generated hundreds of millions in revenue for Showtime. Retiring undefeated at 50, Mayweather is now taking the fight to the courtroom with the same determination he showed in the ring. While Showtime has long been a premier platform for fighters, this lawsuit brings scrutiny to what happens behind the scenes. Should Terrence Crawford weigh in publicly, it could trigger questions about promoters, managers, and contract transparency across the sport. Regarding Floyd's legacy, opinions are divided. Fighters like Keith Thurman view him as more of a businessman than a pure athlete, someone who consistently prioritized strategic financial gains alongside his career in the ring.
Some of your best fights happen under the Showtime platform. Can you share a little bit of your take on what's going on with Mayweather? He's suing Showtime for $340 million.
Nah, we don't care. It was just a money man trying to get more money and had a lot of money and did dumb things with money, and you know, it is what it is, man. Rich people got rich people problems. I ain't mad at.
Skepticism around around Floyd Mayweather's lawsuit continues to mount. Many are questioning whether he's creating drama from personal grievances rather than uncovering a true financial wrongdoing. The scenario gets more complicated because he isn't targeting Al Haymon directly, but Showtime, the company allegedly channeling funds to Haymon. Observers wonder how Floyd didn't notice these transactions over the course of his career. And if the money did reach him, where exactly did it end up? These uncertainties about timing, knowledge, and intent now cast a shadow over the case.
I don't know whether or not Al Haymon did any of this or not. This is an accusation made in a civil court by Floyd Mayweather Jr., not even against Al Haymon. We'll see where exactly and why, I don't know, he wouldn't sue Al Haymon. He's suing the people that paid Al Haymon the money and appropriated it to Al Haymon instead of to Floyd Mayweather Jr. directly. We would have to understand the contractual relationships between those parties to see whether or not this is something that Floyd should have known about or did know about or maybe did not understand. Because it seems very, very funny that Floyd would not know that the money was getting paid to Al Haymon and not directly to him.
From 50 Cent's bold comment, Crawford beat your ass, to the ongoing uproar over Floyd Mayweather's $340 million lawsuit, the boxing world is electrified. Crawford remains steadfast, ignoring comeback offers for massive paydays, while Floyd keeps dominating headlines with controversy. Could 50 Cent's remarks be signaling a Crawford versus Mayweather matchup, quietly developing behind the scenes? What's your take? Music real possibility or just hype? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for all the latest boxing updates.